Welcome back to the EchoVideo podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Tapley. Joining me as always is my co-host, Bart. Bart, thanks for joining. How have you been doing this week?
Hey Hunter, glad to be back as always. Wonderful movie this time. I'm feeling good. It was a good week. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Work's kind of kicking my ass this week, but yep, so just pretty stressful, all that kind of stuff. So it's always fun meeting deadlines and everyone yelling at each other is always fun.
Do you have like people looking over your shoulder the whole time?
Every now and again, yeah, but I'm really not too busy these days, so they just kind of keep me there, and I have to kind of keep myself busy. And the worst part is just finding stuff to do, because it's only so many times I can sweep the floors. Because it's like, Jesus, I'm not going to do it 40 times a day.
Oh man,
kind of
that's
deal.
the worst.
So,
When you're just looking to look busy.
I fucking hate it. It drives me
I'd go so
fucking
slow, man.
nuts. It
I'd
drives me
rather be
nuts.
fucking slaving away all day than
Yeah,
brooming 5 times a day, like
yeah.
just to do something.
I 100% agree with you. I would honestly rather be worked to the bone
Yeah.
than fucking stand there all day. But yeah, that's kind of how my week was. Anything you've watched that you'd recommend at all, or?
Haven't had a whole lot of chance to watch this week. I've been packing up and moving to my new place Friday, but this weekend was pretty exciting. I got to see with Miranda, my girlfriend, the Red Hot Chili Peppers in on Sunday in Toronto. That was dope. And I proposed, and now we're engaged. So that's pretty cool after 4 years.
Oh,
Pretty neat, though.
that's new to me.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah, it
sharing
happened
that.
like fucking
Fucking
yesterday. Well, I thought a good time to pop it now. It's
oh,
like the drink review, and then we have the engagement. Keep things exciting.
yeah, yeah. No, congratulations on that, man. Happy to hear
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah,
That's
it's
the
pretty exciting.
world premiere.
The world premiere of Bart's engagement. Yeah.
There we go. World premiere. You heard it here first. IGN first.
This is the exclusive news. It's the fucking EchoVideo Plus. You get it if you
There you
subscribe to our
go.
Patreon.
If you subscribe, yeah, to the Patreon, it doesn't exist
Yeah,
because we
but
have fucking 4 followers. But
yeah, it would probably cost more to set all that shit up than we would actually get from it.
yeah, probably. So yeah, that's good news, man. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man.
Um,
Appreciate it.
anything I've recommended, I haven't really. I watched something that was actually pretty good, and I can't fucking remember it.
Son of
So
a
that's
bitch.
fantastic.
Good.
No, it was The Suspicious Death of a Minor by
That's what it's called?
Yeah, that's what the movie's called.
Oh, it just sounds like a newspaper heading. Okay.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. It's a Giallo film. I believe it's directed by Umberto Lenzo.
Hmm.
Umberto Lenzio. I'm not sure on the director, but there's only probably one movie in the world called The Suspicious Death of a Minor. But I actually really enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. It was a pretty fun watch. So high recommendations for that.
Cool.
That's my
Where'd you
recommendation.
how'd you come across that?
I've just been kind of filling the void of sadness by buying stuff. So I go onto
Wolf.
movie websites and make massive purchases of movies. And
Well,
especially if there's like, oh, the director's collection, I'll just buy it. I have no idea who the director was. Sergio Martino. That's the
oh, yeah.
director's name.
Did you get it from Vinegar Syndrome?
No, I got it from
Oh,
Arrow Films,
oh yeah.
which is
Yeah.
pretty decent. And I'm trying not to buy from Amazon. And when I realize you can buy from these websites, I realize there's so much more they have on the websites than they have on Amazon,
Hmm.
which is evilly dangerous. So now I've just been buying
Oh, like
copious amounts.
you justify it, right? Like, oh, I'm not spending as much on Amazon, so I can spend
Yeah,
more here.
yeah.
That
I'm
kind.
just
Yeah.
like that, and oh, I'm not feeling good. Well, let's buy stuff. It'll make you feel better. So
Yeah.
that's
Man,
always a that's
I had
always a
that.
very healthy coping method, I find.
Yeah, had that with records for a while, man. Ran myself right into the gutter financially. I was like, I need to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely taken a break on it in recent months, but
Well,
it comes and goes. It comes and goes. I have to watch what I have. I have like a ton of movies now that I told myself I need to fucking watch this pile before I buy anything else.
yeah.
Like you cannot buy anymore. You have to fucking
No
watch them.
more.
Or else I'm just gonna have so much, and then I'm not gonna watch them all. Like fucking American Hustle, I still haven't seen it. I've owned it for like
Oh
fucking
yeah.
4 years.
Me too. My parents got me the Blu-ray one day, and it has been sitting on my shelf. I think it's still wrapped, actually. I've had it for like 4 or 5 years.
I bought mine on Black Friday, and I think Best Buy had like $5 movies, and they were
Ooh.
like all like $5 for Black Friday, and I just happened to grab that and like 20 others, and I was like,
Uh,
I'll watch it eventually, and I've never watched it. I'm just like, God damn it.
you're gonna be on your deathbed, son of a bitch.
It's like, meanwhile, it's the best movie ever made, and I
Yeah, I
fucking
know.
just like, oh, I'll watch it eventually. So
Shit, it would have changed
you
your
know
whole
what?
life.
You know what I found at the movie store? I found fucking Solo, 120 Days of Sodom.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, so I bought it
A
on
physical release?
Criterion.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's on
Oh, Criterion. That
Criterion.
makes sense. Okay.
It's been released for a bit, but I didn't think they sold it in Canada because when I looked on Amazon, it's like third-party listings exclusively, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I wonder if it's not even available in Canada. So I was very happy to find that at the video store.
Jeez. You know what? That should be an Echo Video, like a watch party, maybe like a live stream or
Dude,
something. That'd be
dude,
fun.
I want to watch it, but I really don't want to have people in the house or near me when I watch it because
Yeah,
I've like
headphones
I
on.
yeah.
When
Well,
else
I know
there?
I basically know how it goes. Like I've seen a lot of reviews and stuff of it, so I know the worst parts. But
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good it could make a good podcast. So maybe we'll do it eventually. But that's fucking way down the road if we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. We got
Uh
quite the backlog.
oh yeah, we got a lot. Anyways, so other than that, let's just get right into the podcast. Let's get right into the movie we're going to discuss today, which is 1990, not 1980, which is a correction I want to make because last week when we announced it, I think we said 1980.
Hmm.
It is a 1990 film released. It is a 1990 film, The Suckling, directed by Francis Terry. I think it's his first
Second.
directed movie. Second?
I think second. I think he
Okay.
had flesh-eating mothers. Or no, that was just a written. We already. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah. So
We
it's
went
his
over
first
this.
his directorial debut for Francis Terry, The Suckling, and first impressions. I really enjoyed it. I thought it's kind of exactly what I was expecting out of it, and
Hmm.
I was mildly not mildly I was pretty I enjoyed it beginning to end. In all honesty, what were your kind of thoughts?
Initial impressions. I watched this on YouTube, like a scrub. And there were 10 minutes, which I didn't know of this. I thought this was just, I was watching the whole movie. 10 minutes were just cut out of anything that even like remotely had blood in it. So everything that should have been fun and exciting just wasn't there. So I only got the dialogue, which wasn't the best part of the film. But then I rewatched the actual version and I got all my gore, all my titties, all my everything in there.
Yeah, all the good
Far
stuff.
better film. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You kind of yeah. I skimmed the YouTube version after we discussed. So spoiler, we had recorded this. This is a re-recording of an episode, and we fucked it up again. So the curse is still living.
It's still, but this time
And
it was Hunter. So hopefully we can
yeah,
now
this time
finally
it was
we
my
both have a
fault.
clean slate.
So hopefully this will fix it. This
The
episode
curse. Yeah.
because we're getting
Did you
our feelings.
also fuck up like an Indian burial ground or some shit?
I don't know. Maybe.
Jeez.
I can't think of it. I maybe parked my car on it, but
You see like a fucking donut on it drifting and shit.
yeah. Anyways, though, yeah, you told me on YouTube about this when we first discussed it, and I honestly, well, you thought I was lying about all the good stuff.
Yeah, because the very first thing you said, like, "Oh, hey, Bart, what did you think of the scene where this prostitute has this man there who's a lawyer who's just come into the brothel? He's sitting there with a little cap on his head, like one of those colorful caps with a little propeller, and he's sitting there buck ass naked. And she's got her titties out, and she puts the dildo up his ass, and it's got like a little airplane sound as it goes in. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I watched this whole thing, not even once was that mentioned. So that then I
Yeah.
realized I've been getting cucked this whole time.
Yeah, dude, I checked it. Okay, before we kind of discuss the film, let's kind of do a walkthrough of what happened.
Hmm.
So basically, the movie opens and it starts with an opening crawl, and I don't have the crawl on hand, but basically it just recaps what happened, and it's almost kind of like telling you like this is the story retold by the survivor of the final survivor
Yeah,
of
the soul.
the attack. So it kind of almost comes off like they're trying to make it sound like a true story.
Like a Blair Witch
And
kind of thing.
yeah, and I was like, oh my god, like what kind of movie are we getting into? And then it cuts to a woman sleeping in her bed. And correct me if I'm going off bounds here, or out of bounds here with the plot. But we start, and there's a woman in her bed, and there's somebody coming up the stairs, and the guy's got what's a straight razor, and he walks into the bedroom, and he attacks her, and then she wakes up, gets up, goes into the bathroom, and then
Yeah, the doctor
we
they goes into like make an incision in her stomach, right? Like a
yeah.
C-section,
Oh, yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry.
yeah.
So the doctor, yeah. So it's like a C-section almost, and there's like this naked nurse, and it's fucking wild. And
It's like a
then
fever dream, yeah.
yeah, so the fever dream. So she wakes up from the fever dream. She goes into the bathroom, and then opens the mirror, grabs some pills, closes the mirror, and then you can clearly see makeup effect on her neck, and then then the guy's right behind her and cuts her throat, and then it goes into the movie again, and you see her laying in the hospital bed, and these two doctors are there, and you have the world's shortest doctor and the world's tallest doctor working on staff, and they're just like rediscussing, like they're just
They're
retelling us what.
basically like the opening crawl. They're just
Yeah,
basically reading out the opening crawl.
there's like no changing of anything at all. It's just literally rereading the opening crawl, what we have just read and established. And then it's like, why? One of these could have been cut out of the movie and it would have been the same. But so, anyways,
I oh man,
oh
I
no,
just loved
yeah, go
how
ahead.
the doctors like brought up the whole exposition dump because it's the short doctor goes up to the old doctor and he's like, "Oh, so who's in there?" And the old doctor's like, "Oh, well, that's unnamed girl. You must know all about her." It's like, "Oh no, I just got here. The other doctor who used to work here is gone now, so I don't know what's going on. Can you tell me?" And then he just fucking info dumps the entire plot of the movie on the man. It's quite funny, and that's how we get transition into that flashback.
Yep. And then we start at Big Mama's brothel and abortion clinic, I believe it's called.
I mean, that's just efficient marketing. I think that's good real estate.
We have the main character, which is on IMDb, is credited as Girl, and
That's a big role
it
for
is
her.
Lisa Petruno.
Yeah,
That's the.
Perito, Petrano.
I don't know if I'm getting that right, but anyway, she plays the titular title character, Girl, and the boyfriend. What was the boyfriend's name?
Bill, played
Bill.
by Tim Martin Krause.
Co-
Yeah.
yeah, Kraus or Course. I would assume it's Kraus, but so Bill is very aggressively forcing her to have the abortion, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
little uncomfortable. And so
Yeah, to
he's
say the
very
least. Yeah.
aggressively forcing this, and Girl very much is
She is
shown to not
very
want it.
unhappy.
She's very hesitant, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, but they open the door, and Sherman, I believe his name is, he's
Mm-hmm.
wearing a teal shirt, says like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, yeah, I'll like go around the back. So they go around the back, and then the businessman walks into the brothel, and then I believe, does it go right to the scene with him in the pinwheel hat, or does it go to them walking into the clinic?
I think it's the pinwheel hat scene first, and then
All
I
right,
think it
well,
goes to the clinic.
yeah, let's talk about the pinwheel hat scene.
I
I mean,
mean,
you kind of
the
already discussed it, but he goes in. This woman has like rubber
the
bats
harness.
bra, like a bra made out of rubber Halloween store bats, which is kind of funny.
Hmm.
And then you see her. I can't really remember what she's doing. Anyways, the guy pulls out a dildo, and then fucking somebody whips it out of his hand, and then the girl leaves, and then somebody walks in with a spike paddle, and it's just like, what is happening?
What the fuck?
And then
Yeah, I think there's this one scene where the business guy he like tosses the dildo and then the dominatrix like whips in the air like fucking Indiana Jones and catches it and like reels it in and then I think she gives it back to him where he takes it or something and he just starts fucking riding it. Yeah, and then that other woman walks in with like a nailed bat like she's fucking Negan. That was frightening.
Yeah, and this is 12 minutes into the movie too.
Yeah,
Like
like this is a fresh
this is
start.
the opening scene. Nothing like pivotal to the plot has happened yet. This is like all set up. And then anyways, then you cut to the clinic, and Sherman is wearing a teal shirt, and the walls of the clinic are teal. He's wearing the same colored shirt, which is kind of funny. I thought that was kind
Yeah,
of humorous.
it's like the green on green screen. It's gonna blend
So
in.
then she sits down, and I think we're introduced to the rest of our characters, which is Axel, who's the tough guy sitting in the room. He's kind of the tough, huge asshole to Sherman. And we have Candy, I believe, is also sitting there, one of the
Yeah.
women, and she's like, "Is this your first time? I've had plenty." Like it's just like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god."
Holy Jake.
It's pretty
It's like the
it's
fucking
honestly
collectibles.
really darkly funny, but
Yeah.
so anyways, yeah, Sherman and Sherman leaves, and what happens after this? So then Big Mama goes in, or no, yeah, takes her in, they drug her, and then it cuts to,
Yeah, but like against her will. I mean, that was the big
oh
one. They
yeah,
just drug her.
this is
She's
this is
unconscious, and then she's put on the operating table
this
and
is
given an
all
abortion
against
while
her
she's come.
will.
Yeah, literally all against her will. And even that
And
scene where Bill is paying for the abortion, it's like the fucking sketchiest
yeah,
shot. Like he's doing
it's
a
like
drug deal or something. He's like counting the cash. He's like, "Oh, that'll do,"
he's like in a
and it's like really
dungeon.
poorly lit. Yeah.
He's like in like a dungeon basically. It's pretty messed up. And then the doctor's assistant Bertha, and then this is kind of like the opening shot. You have a wide shot. I think the abortion scene itself, it was kind of the least gory moment in the film, I would say.
Hmm.
It was all shot in wide, and you see Bertha remove this little creature out from her, and then Big Mama's like, go get rid of it the way I taught you. She walks into
Yeah,
the
this happens
bathroom
all the time.
and then flushes it down the toilet,
Like a
and then
goldfish.
yeah, it's like, oh my
Bro,
god.
also, it's like it looks like this child was like, I don't know, maybe 2 months away from being born. Like it was a thick
Oh
boy.
yeah.
Like it looked like it
Oh
was ready to
yeah.
come out. So
It
then
was
he just
pretty
fucking
big.
aborted it. I think they just killed it.
It was pretty big. And then they flush it down the toilet, and then you see like a shot of the baby flying down the sewer system. And I gotta say, the sewers is actually a really nice set. It looks pretty cool. It's kind of like gothic looking architecture and whatnot.
Yeah,
I
like the
actually
steam they
thought
have too. It's quite nice.
I actually thought it looked kind of cool. Then you can see an obvious string pull the thing down the drain because it flicks the water up the string when they pull it, and then you see the camera kind of pans up and you see radiation leaking into the sewer, dripping on the onto the fetus, and now it starts to slowly evolve into the monster, and what happens what's laced
See,
in between this? Do you know
oh
do you
geez.
remember?
Um, yes, but it's just fucking wild how this is compared to the uncut because I was so fucking lost because you go into the doctor's office for the abortion. Then it's like you know what to do and you don't get any of the scene in between. It's like she just walks in, then it's Big Mama saying, "You know what to do." Then you hear the toilet flushing, then you see the sign of the toxic waste, and then you hear screaming. That's all you see. You see none of the stuff in between. So I was like, what the fuck is happening? I
And
was so lost.
that's the YouTube cut
Yeah, that's the
version of the
fucking
movie. And
ugh.
then the one thing I remember after this is we have Big Mama. I'm not sure when but this happens pretty recently after the fetus gets flushed down the toilet. Big Mama is seen with a coat hanger cleaning meat and gore off of it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is fucking disgusting. But it was kind of funny,
Yeah.
and she's cleaning it off. She's talking to Bertha. And then she folds the coat hanger back into its regular position, takes her doctor's coat off, and then hangs it up on the wall in the doctor's coat. And I was like,
Jesus.
that is incredible.
See, that was even in the YouTube version, but I completely just slipped by me. It is really
Yeah, but
odd the things they chose to keep
in
in.
the YouTube cut though, because I watched to see what happened. It has her hanging her coat up, but you don't get to see her clean off the
Oh,
gore
okay.
and
Yeah.
stuff from the coat hanger. But then I believe she comes to, in the doctor's office or on the couch downstairs, and the house is just wood paneling all over. It's the most
Mhm.
ugly wood paneling you'll ever see on this fucking house. And then this other client's being kind of, I think one of the sex workers at the brothel is kind of shortchanging him, and he's not having it. And then Sherman comes up and kind of breaks it up, and Sherman's like, "Don't ever treat customers that poorly again." And then she walks upstairs, and then this guy who's unnamed, we haven't seen this character before, he's just being introduced now. He's standing at the door, and for no reason, one of the sex workers runs down and shoots him like 4 times in the chest. And then the other sex worker takes the gun out of her hand, and then Sherman just punches her in the face. Like, what is happening?
Sherman and Axel both, man, they don't give a fuck if they
Oh,
need to
dude.
deck someone or they feel like fucking threatened. They go
Crazy.
swinging, and they don't pull punches. It's like a
Crazy.
full, jeez. Yeah, I don't know. I keep going back to this every single time, but in the
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah.
version, you see like the lawyer, like just recently introduced character who gets shot at the bottom of the stairs, the sex worker at
Mhm.
the top, and then it
You see,
cuts away, and then you just see the reaction shot from the fucking the boyfriend, Bill.
yeah, it's
It's like, what the fuck
wild.
is happening?
I did watch that scene too. It was pretty wildly cut. Like, I
Yeah.
think you see her pointing the gun, you hear gunshots, and then like you only hear one shot though, and then
Mhm.
it cuts to the reaction. It's crazy. And then so slowly out this, the fetus is metamorphosizing into the creature. And
Actually, I like that when you can see like this
there's
new.
yeah, no, I liked it too, but the
Yeah.
one shot of it was kind of upsetting, like the first metamorphosis shot where it's just sitting there and it's breathing. It kind of looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
Yeah, it looks
It
sad.
was
Like its
pretty,
chest is like really
yeah,
big,
it
and
was
he's like labored, sad. Even one of its eyes is
it
like
was pretty
bulging, and you're like,
disgusting.
oh,
It was
man.
pretty gross. That was the
Yeah.
only kind of real gross part. And then slowly you see it kind of like growing claws and teeth and stuff, and it gets bigger and bigger. And then our characters realize, I'm apologizing if I'm skipping over stuff, and then our characters realize they're trapped into the house, which, I mean, I think this was for budget reasons why they had to stay in the brothel, but the director, Francis Terry, has said that he's a big fan of movies that take place in a claustrophobic setting, like The Thing, and
Mhm.
like movies like that. That's what he's kind of took inspiration from, he said, but I also do believe it was partially the budgetary reasons why it
I don't
had to
know.
take place.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if this is like a weird reference or just a line of dialogue, but they call like the suckling they actually call it like like the thing is coming up. So I was wondering if that was like a little callback, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, very well could be for sure, but I do think they just kind of called it The Thing.
Yeah, because like what the fuck else are you gonna call it?
And then
Sewage baby.
our first official suckling kill by the suckling.
Yeah.
You hear, I think they hear screaming from upstairs or crying or some noise, and Bertha goes up to check it,
Mhm.
and Bertha goes into the bathroom, looks into the toilet, and this tentacle or the umbilical cord wraps around her neck, rips her head clean off, and blood and gore go everywhere all over the bathroom.
Mhm.
And then Candy, I think, either comes up or is with her in that scene, and there's just screaming and shouting, and then Candy's all delusional and whatnot. It's kind of funny to see, but
Yes, he runs down to Axel and like fucking frantics, and he's just already pissed off
oh
with
yeah,
everything that's already happening. And he's like, I don't want to deal with this shit. So he's like, there's a dead body, like Bertha had her head ripped off. And he's like, all right, whatever. I'm fucking sick of
yeah,
this. And
he's
the
like
next shot
done.
is him picking up a magazine and just reading it. And he's like kind of
Yep,
muddling to himself, like, oh, fucking all this shit. And he just
yep.
flips a few pages and then he goes up the stairs to where Bertha is with her head ripped off. And it's just so like fucking silly.
It's such a fucking whack reaction. And
Yeah.
then they realize, yep, they're trapped in the house. There's something covering the doors and the windows. It's some kind of
The
fleshy
uterus.
film, which, yeah, when I first saw it, I thought that the suckling was trying to like make them
He
into the
one-upped them.
womb.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
fucking
be
aborted them.
like something like that for sure. And then Sherman basically says, "Oh, we only have two tools in this house: a hammer and a screwdriver." And he gets the businessman who's all fucking uppity, wants to leave, doesn't want to be there, to start like chiseling on the door. And this motherfucker is the most useless fucking guy with that chisel, hammer, and screwdriver. He's like hitting his hand, and he's
You
all
could
like,
not have tried to be worse at it. Like he fucking tries to line it up like the chisel on the door. The very first fucking strike, and he goes in slow, hits his thumb, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do this. Someone else, please take over." And then when they keep like forcing him to do it, he's like fucking tapping so fucking lightly, and just like
oh yeah,
moaning and groaning. It's like, oh my god, please.
yeah, it's pretty painful to watch. And then, so they go upstairs, they figure out Bertha's dead, and then the second kill, which I believe is Sherman. Am I correct in
Yeah,
that?
I think he gets pulled through the wall, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Sherman's kind of taking charge. He's kind of like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And he's the only one with the gun right now. And then Axel's like all mad, like, oh, you're only in charge because you got the gun, like kind of like that. And then Sherman, the creature, you finally get a pretty decent look at the fully metamorphosized Suckling,
Yeah, it looks
bursts
pretty
through
good.
the wall and grabs him. And just that's kind of it. I think it just pulls him into the wall
Yeah.
and kills him.
It's
And
funny, like when he's like doing that little rally speech, like getting everyone's attention. He's like, "I intend to get out of here alive," and then fucking
then,
immediately,
yeah.
he's barely done the sentence. Immediately
And
gets pulled in.
the best part of the movie is the creature design. The Suckling itself looks really, really good.
Yeah, it really does. Even for 10K, like all the movement, especially
Yeah,
even on like the smaller, like when it was still the baby, that's actually
yeah,
really good.
yeah. I think, yeah, like Bart said, I think it was the majority of the budget. I think it cost something like $10,000 for the suit itself and all the electronics and stuff on the secondary head,
Hmm.
and that's where most of the budget went.
Do you know that it was Tim Allen in the suit?
No, it wasn't Tim
No,
Allen.
I know I'm just
Yeah,
fucking with you, but
I was like,
that was his first role. You caught me. Can you fucking imagine
no.
though?
I looked at, dude. I watched the behind the scenes. Who
Yeah.
was it? It
Oh
was
yeah. Michael Moore.
Michael Gingold. He's an author of Fangoria, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Yeah,
Cool.
pretty. Or yeah, director. Now he's a director. Has done a lot of documentaries. It looks like
Oh, right on.
pretty interesting. So then now Axel takes charge. He gets the gun, and he's all like, "Well, now I'm going to take charge, and I say we go to the basement." So he takes everyone to the basement.
Yeah, so he duct tapes up the lawyer's mouth and like puts, you know those fucking things that vets have to put around his neck so you can keep it at a distance, like those snake catching things, whatever. He uses one of those that I guess they just have, and brings him into the basement to try and lure in the Suckling, because Axel's upset. He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna fucking die here anyways, so might as well do something about it, I guess." And they go down, and then Axel is confronted, I think, by the Suckling, and he just starts fucking shooting, like hitting every single pipe they have, unlimited ammo in that clip. I don't think they reloaded once in that entire film. Um, is it later on when the Suckling starts fucking with the power, or is that same scene?
I think it's the same scene in the
Yeah. Okay.
basement. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think it's like the
Yeah.
whole middle portion of the movie, the basement.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's. I think the Suckling gets their attention by fucking with the power,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Axel gets all aggravated and grabs a metal rod to
yeah,
charge at the Suckling, and then the fucking Suckling just dekes him out, and he impales the metal rod into the like the breaker board, and just
yeah.
gets fucking
Electrocutes
electrocuted.
himself.
Yeah, yeah.
He sees it like fucking an electrician at the electrical board, fucking with the power, and then
He picks
he
up a
runs
metal
at it,
rod.
with a metal pipe, attacks it, and then
He's
it
like,
gets electrocuted.
"Motherfucker!" Yeah, and then he
It's
just
pretty,
fucking blows up. That good stuff.
it's pretty fucking funny. And then
I really thought they were hinting at the whole house blowing up. Because there's a few scenes in the
yeah,
basement where they kept like hinting at the steam. You could like hear it hissing really
yeah,
loudly,
yeah,
and I really thought that was gonna go somewhere, but no, nothing.
yeah. I thought it might go somewhere too. I thought, yeah, the house would have exploded, but I mean, budgetary reasons probably said no to that
Oh yeah,
idea. But
definitely.
so then Axel's dead. I think we get a fake out death before Axel dies. There's a black haired sex worker that
Mm.
is taken by the Suckling into another room, and we don't really see anything else. It's just kind of she's taken, and then we're
Presumed
assumed that
dead.
she's
Yeah.
dead. Yeah, and then we go back upstairs. So yeah, they come up from the basement, and then I believe they start trying to smash the door down with a battering ram.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, they hit it once, and the lawyer has immediately been like, "No, it's not working. It didn't dent the door." He's immediately given
Within
up.
literal
Not a very
seconds, yeah.
helpful.
Anyone's
Yeah,
guess how he
literal.
became a fucking lawyer.
Yeah, he fucking immediately
At
gives
the
up. It's
slightest
not fun.
inconvenience. Yeah.
And then they continue at it. They break through the door, and then they actually chisel a hole through it. And they're just like, "Oh, you got a hole through it. All right, well, we'll let the smallest go first, which is girl." And then the lawyer's like, "No, no way, I'm letting her go first. I'm going 1st."
Mhm.
So he pushes his way through, and he enters what we are believed is the womb, or the fleshy womb that the Suckling has created. And it's just cargo net and some linen.
It is, yeah, and they got like this bright fucking red light on it and like all this squishy sounds that's like super hyperbolic. But he's just walking through like strings. It's quite
Yeah, it's just like a
it's
cargo
not
net
even
they
wet.
just
He's
threw.
completely dry.
It's unfortunate
Yeah.
looking. And then he confronts the Suckling, and some wild editing happens, and then he dies.
You get that screaming and like the reactions in the house. It's strange, yeah.
So then they realize he's dead, and then I think Big Mama goes upstairs because she hears noises, and then the creature confronts Big Mama,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
I believe that's
it's like the
next.
big standoff. It's like the abortion. What the fuck do you call that? I guess abortion doctor and the Suckling.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And then it's kind of a lackluster death. I
It
remember.
is.
I think it's off
Yeah,
screen.
because I was really excited for that because I thought it was gonna be like a pretty
Probably.
significant death.
Yeah, it's probably one of the worst deaths in the movie. Honestly,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it is kind of off screen, and you don't really get to see anything exciting. And then we cut back. We're back downstairs, so she dies. The characters are all going crazy. They're freaking out. And I think we hear noises in the basement at this point, and one of the sex workers has a gun, and they're like, "It's down there. Just shoot it. Shoot it. Come on, you have to shoot it." She shoots at the door a bunch of times, and then the door flings open, and it was the kidnapped sex worker, and she falls onto the ground dead.
Not
And
alive
then they're all like,
anymore.
"Oh, well, you didn't know that. You didn't know. It's not your fault." And then she goes crazy, and then she shoots herself in the head, the girl that shot her.
Yeah,
So it's just
it's a
kind of like,
quick
"Oh, this
elimination.
is."
And then the
then we're
fucking
down to
Tim gets the gun. And Tim has got the
oh
fucking
yeah,
genius
yeah.
idea. He's like,
No, is it? I think it's Bill, isn't it?
oh
Bill?
yeah, I don't know what I'm fucking saying. Tim. Oh,
Yeah,
Tim is the actor's name. Bill, sorry.
yeah. So
Uh,
Bill's got the gun now,
yeah,
and he has the smart idea that he's gonna let the Suckling capture him because he can't
you
shoot
can't
it
miss if
unless
it's fucking
he
holding
can't
him
miss when he's being held.
inside of it.
So then, yeah. So he's like, and then the creature bursts up through the floor, and it like arms reach
Yeah, like
away from him.
maybe 2 feet, maybe.
Like you can hit it from
Yeah,
there.
he could have fucking
You can
thrown
hit
the
it.
gun and it would have hit him perfectly.
And then the monster comes up, picks him
I
up,
guess I wasn't
and
close enough.
and
yeah.
then you get a nice close up of his face. You get to see it blink in, moving its face. It's pretty
Yeah, the
cool.
lips too. I like
And then it
that.
rams I think it's like pincer hand through his stomach, or he rams his jaw, or he like bites him in the stomach or something. And then Bill's dead.
Didn't fire the
And
gun
then
once.
Yeah, did he fire it? I can't remember if he fired it
I
at
don't
all.
think so. No,
I don't think so. Yeah, either way, he didn't do any damage.
literally nothing. Worst plan.
And then we're down to the last two. We have the Suckling and Girl, and the girl's kind of up against the door. The Suckling staring at her, and it kind of is like a weird moment. You kind of know. I thought it was going to be different, a different ending, but then the creature starts running at her, and then it morphs back into a baby, and like a tiny little gray alien baby. It's kind of
like
creepy.
weird stop motion. It's like if a Smurf was like
Yeah.
IRL, basically. It's
Yep.
fucking hideous.
And then it jumps directly into her vagina.
Yeah, and you see it like fucking tossing and turning in her stomach, like it's bulging, and we can see like it's kicking in his hands. And it's like, oh my god, is he screaming the whole time? It is wild. And that's they left that completely uncut in the YouTube edition, which I was completely flabbergasted by. The whole thing.
Well, there wasn't any blood, right?
I
It's
guess
blood that's the
so,
bad
yeah.
stuff.
Jesus.
So then I think she passes out or something, and then we cut to the cops breaking the door down, and then they take her into the hospital, and then we cut back to the two doctors, and they're just kind of like, well, that's the story. And then I think we have another cut to the future, and we have the girls locked up in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And she's kind of sitting in the corner, isolated. These two doctors come in and are talking about how it's like, oh, well, she's the best looker here. It's free pussy or something like that.
Yeah.
They take her out, and then they
It's pretty fucked.
kind of, one doctor has her way with her, and it's pretty fucking awful to watch.
Yeah.
And then,
And it's like she's completely unconscious. Her head is like tilted to the side. It's like fucking
oh yeah,
rocking as
dude,
he's like,
it's
oh
uncomfortable
my
to watch.
goodness.
And then this tentacle comes out, wraps around the guy's neck, and kills both the doctors.
Yeah, like it rips through
and
his
then the
stomach
movie.
like a xenomorph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the final shot. You got like the blood splattered on the glass panel, and you have like the other like asylum, whatever.
Yeah.
You'd see them looking
And
through
then,
and laughing. It's...
The weirdest part of this movie is during the credit scene, there is another death scene that happens. You have these two kids, what look like an older brother and a younger brother, at the brothel. This guy runs out, and his face is melting off, and it's probably the best effect in the whole movie, the best kill, and it's left to a credit scene, which is kind of weird. So I wonder if they were just like, we have too much footage, or we don't know how to use this organically, but let's just put it in the credits so it doesn't go to waste kind of deal. I'm not 100% on that.
Mm-hmm.
But
they could have cut out
it was just kind of
two doctor scene for the exposition and left that in.
for sure. And then we have the guy's face melts off, and we just have these two kids. One of the kids' shirt, I think just says "fuck" on his shirt, which is kind of funny, and they're just staring blankly at the camera like they're not watching the most horrific thing that's ever happened to them.
That's the lawyer, right? Like surviving, I think.
I think that's the lawyer after
he's
his encounter with the suckling, and then he kind of got out and he's melting. But
yeah, like in the version I watched on YouTube, that was just so fucking confusing because I thought it was just two still shots in between credits, like two separate ones of these two children, and I thought it was like a fucking Marvel end credit scene, like they were teasing a whole multiverse with the suckling. But no, I just missed the best part of the fucking guy's face melting off.
The Marvel credit scene hints at the suckling coming back. He's putting on the Infinity Gauntlet or something.
Holy Jesus.
He's coming back.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
And that's the suckling kind of recapped. I will agree it was a bit of a rough recap. Again, we had recorded this previously.
Yeah, you lose a bit of the charm on the rewatch. But
when you do a re-record, you lose a lot of energy. And I did not feel like rewatching it again. So that's on me. But I think it's pretty decent. And you know what? Even if it is a rough recap, I do recommend to everyone after every episode is to go watch this movie and form your own opinion.
Yeah.
And
the
the
director has stated, I think, several times that it is not supposed to be anything political. It's just a horror movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're supposed to go into it with like that anti-abortion lens, for example.
So the director of this movie, Francis Terry, has admitted that when he made the movie, he had when he wrote it, he had no intentions of it being politicized, or it being an anti-abortion movie or pro-abortion. He just said it was just a catalyst for a story that had never been told before. And then while he was making it, somebody brought it up to him, and he said, "That's awesome. Maybe we can get some controversy around it, and then it'll sell better." And so he basically just used it as kind of a means for people to go watch his movie. And there is some pretty cool advertising and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
it is included in the Blu-ray for the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. They did do a release of it, and it is a pretty decent release. I don't know. Did you pick that Blu-ray up by chance? Or?
No, I just I streamed it on 123 Movies. I wasn't sure if it was going to come in because on Amazon it's also third party, so it didn't want to gamble on it. But I think I will pick it up.
It's pretty decent. Check if you can. Vinegar Syndrome has I think they only print 1,000 copies of every movie they have. And then when they're kind of out, they're out. And maybe if they're in high demand, they reprint them, but I'm not fully sure on how it works. But definitely pick it up if you can, because it is. I'd say it's worth it. You get a lot of pretty humorous marketing. Like I think on the theater they handed out little vials with little latex fetuses in it that just said the Suckling on it, which is kind of funny. And
Imagine doing that
I
shit
think,
now. Bruh.
oh, dude, you couldn't.
You couldn't.
This is
You couldn't even
why,
go near that
dude.
fucking topic, or even that kind of
Dude, you couldn't
advertising.
do it now. You couldn't make this movie now. Like, they're so like, and I hate saying that because I mean that's everything. You can't make you can't make stuff that you could in the past. I hate saying that, but it's true, unfortunately. And
See, what I
we
liked so
live in
much
a
about this one, because I initially watched like the fucking clean version, so I was trying to pick out some positives. um, I even though it was like even watching like the full uncut version, even though it is like kind of like a low budget B movie, it's still a lot of fun. It has some balls, and even though it's shit, it's still a lot to watch. And now you get like multi-million-dollar
dude.
movies, and they're all
Yep,
shit. There's like nothing to
yep.
it. Like at
No,
least this is
I
fun,
100%,
right? You can see like, oh,
dude.
they
I
had
agree.
some
I would
creative
rather.
fun. Like,
I would rather watch like 1,000 bad movies from like the 80s and the 90s and below than one bad movie now.
yeah,
Because at least back then they could be a little bit kind of fun like this movie is. They could have fun with the gore
hmm
and be creative. Nowadays it's just kind of like what can we do with, like, it's just kind of
what's the
trying to
most
hit every
marketable,
single
right?
box. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's pretty sad, and movies like this won't exist. That's kind of why
yeah,
I always try to pick a movie from the past that, might not be critically acclaimed, but is worth watching and worth remembering, I think. So,
yeah. I even appreciated that scene, like when they were trying to recreate the womb, I guess, with just those tarps and strings and fucking nets.
yeah,
Like at
yeah,
least they fucking tried and had some fun with it, right? Like it's
yeah,
commendable. I
and
like that.
yeah, I agree. It's fun, dude. So
hmm
I do recommend this movie. It's not as offensive as you think. It's
No,
not like you're not gonna go and you're not gonna. It's not protest or rioting
no,
worth
it's
of.
very absent. Yeah, it's for, like absent of like advocating for or against
Yeah,
it. Like it's
like it.
not. It's completely
It's just a
fun. Yeah,
slasher. It's just a slasher creature movie with a catalyst for a story.
yeah.
Basically, it's nothing. No commentary or anything. So that's, I think, where we're gonna leave it. Unless you have any final thoughts
No,
on the
no.
movie.
I that was it. Saw the suckling twice in a week and a half. That's not bad. So that's enough suckling for me, I think. But next week
Yep.
we've got something infinitely more depressing for you. We have
Yep.
Threads. Hunter, would you tell us about Threads? You have
Yep.
more
So
familiarity with it than I do.
So Threads is a 1984 straight-to-TV movie directed by Mick Jackson, and there are two movies that are, this movie and another movie the day after, are very similar in plot. It takes place the day after a nuclear bomb is dropped, and it kind of shows you a realistic approach at what that would be like for the people and the kind of the victims of the nuclear bombs.
hmm
I've watched the day after. I haven't watched this movie. I've heard after I watched the day after, I was pretty emotionally scarred from it and pretty scared and upset. I was up for quite a while after watching it, Googling how to survive nuclear
Just in
holocaust.
case.
And while I was looking up kind of like videos about the day after and to see if anyone else had this effect, like had a similar effect of the movie, I saw that there was a movie called Threads, and people were saying that Threads is like mountains worse than the day after. Like it is fucking like the day after is like a Pixar movie compared to
Jeez.
Threads. So I was like, oh man, I gotta see this.
hmm
I don't want to, but I have to see it. So we're
So,
gonna watch that. It just, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
so Threads, if I understand correctly, is like the British one, and then the day after is the American remake.
No, I
No,
think the day
okay.
after came first. I
Oh,
think the day after
okay.
came first, and or maybe they came out around the same time. Hold on, I'm gonna Google this.
Yeah, because I know Threads is like
Day,
if Russia and America were to go into nuclear war, and then it takes place in Sheffield,
yeah,
so like the cataclysmic
similar
fallout.
times.
Okay.
The day after is 1983, November 20th, 1983, and then Threads is
What?
1984. I just want to see the month.
hmm
Fuck, it doesn't say the month. Just 1984. September 23rd, 1984. So around the same time. Honestly, it was probably either being made around the same time, I would assume.
Right.
Like that they were being made. So either way, I think I've heard that Threads is a lot worse. So yeah, that's going to be something to look forward to next
Can't
week.
wait. Get some
And
popcorn, get a little drink, set some nice 2 hours
yeah,
aside. Just
yeah, it's going to be pretty
sadness.
scarring.
Can't wait.
Pretty scarring. The other movie about nuclear holocaust is When the Wind Blows. Have you heard of that?
I know of it, haven't seen it, but I've heard like all the
Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard of that. It's the animated film. I've wanted to see it, but I don't know. I've had enough nuclear. I think after Threads, I'll probably have enough nuclear holocaust movies for one
Fair
lifetime.
enough. Yeah, this is 86.
But
Yeah, I guess
yeah,
tensions were pretty high in the 80s for fucking
I think
nuclear
that was
fallout. It was the height of the Cold War, so that makes
yeah.
sense.
Was 86 the Cold War? I thought that was the 60s.
Yeah, no, it
Or
was
am I an idiot?
no 80s, and then the Berlin Wall was torn down in, what, 88, I think. So it
Oh,
was still
okay.
like pretty spooky.
Okay. No, yeah, that makes sense. That would make more sense. And I think the day after, actually, like Ronald Reagan has admitted that after he saw the day after, he was like personally moved by the film and looked to seek better relations with Russia after it.
Wow.
So the movie does have a pretty big impact on history, I would say.
Hmm.
Anyways, we'll discuss all that next
Yeah, I'm
week.
excited
We're
to get
gonna
into
kind of
it.
wrap it for now. Final thoughts on The Suckling. Would recommend from me, and I'm assuming Bart.
Yeah, I agree. Recommend to a friend. Go check it out for some fun.
Recommend. Go check it out, guys. Go check out the movie. Form your own opinions and let us know what you think. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.